going, guys? It's DeathMonk here. Today we're going to be talking about how you go about completing the very first raid called MWII in Modern Warfare 2. Now, when you very first start this off, you will notice that you have to meet certain requirements before actually commencing this specific raid. So what you need to do is, you will notice, as per the most recent patch update, to complete this specific, or to gain entry into this specific raid, you do need to complete one of these 3 tasks. So in order to actually get access to this, you do need to earn a raid assignment. Now you do this by either finishing the top 20 in Warzone 2.0, extracting on the 4th chopper with $30,000 in cash in DMZ, or by completing a daily challenge in co-op or multiplayer mode. You will notice that some of these daily challenges have either 2,500 XP, 10,000 XP, or have the word raid written alongside it in the XP's position, if that makes sense. Once you actually get this raid assignment, there will be a little prompt on screen to activate it. Make sure you guys do this. You do also need to be in a team of 3, and to make sure that you also have reliable teammates, otherwise this is going to go wrong and go wrong easily for you. I would also recommend teaming up your kits, as this will be very handy for later in the actual mode. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight into this here, guys. Now, when you first spawn in, you'll notice that you're in a small room and you have to make your way outside. Once outside, you'll come across you inside a really large, lengthy hallway with water in the middle. There's balconies on either side, and the idea is to actually eliminate all of the opponents using, ideally, stealth. If you mess up, you will notice that there is a alarm that goes off that alerts all the nearby enemies, and I believe, if not mistaken, I think this actually happened in my gameplay. There was actually a guy with a riot shield that'll actually come towards you if you mess it up. So I don't know if I've got this in this gameplay at the moment, but you will notice it if you see it yourselves. Now at this point, of course, you have silenced weapons, so make sure you guys use those to your advantage. You will notice the occasional enemy claymore that's been laid on the ground, so keep an eye out for those as well. And when you get to the very end of the hallway, you'll notice there's a big, massive silo door. You just see me swim past it just then. Now, on the bottom floor on the right-hand side, you'll come across a small room. Now, this room has a few computers in there, as well as a red button. There's a few monitors. You'll notice on this screenshot right here. Now, you'll notice you've got like a set of CCTV cameras where my teammate is standing in front of right here. All got all like fuzzed out and things like that. You'll notice there's a little red monitor right here with some symbols on, which I'll come on to in a moment, and there's like a little entry type podium or computer, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to quickly show you how you go about completing this. Now, this is fairly straightforward, to be quite honest with you. Now, when you get inside this room, you'll notice there's this monitor right here, and it'll display a 3-digit code. Now, bearing in mind, this 3-digit code will be different for your game if you're playing it yourself, so make sure you guys do bear that in mind. So in my game here, in this case, I got a letter T, 2 letter K's basically stuck back to back, and a letter W. Now, these are, of course, all, I believe, Russian letters, if I'm not mistaken. Now, you'll notice that there's a red button here. Now, this opens for a short period of time. So if you hold down the button for a certain period of time, the door will raise. But if you just press it, it'll just go up and straight back down again. So find a reliable teammate to open the door for you. In this case, I think in order for you to get through, you need to rely on ask your teammate to actually let you through that door. So bear that in mind there, guys. Now, I believe my teammate's going to let me in right here. There we go. So he lets you through. You'll notice there's a second set of CCTV monitors, which we're going to quickly examine. Now, on these monitors, you'll notice there's some CCTV cameras. The idea is to find the room that actually is displaying a certain set of digits, if that makes sense. You'll notice it right here. So, as you guys can see, we've got a T, we've got a X, and a rather interesting looking fishing symbol, I guess you could say. So in this case, it's 585. But hold that thought. So 585 TX. I'm just going to say TX10 because that's what it closely looks like. I suppose. Now, when I get back onto the other set of monitors, these are the ones back where the other computers are on the other side of the gate. You'll notice I'm going to look for the other set of numbers. So in this case, it's PYW. So, and as you guys can see, P is assigned to 3, Y is assigned to 7, W is assigned to 8. Now, when it comes to actually inputting that information onto the actual system, I think, hang on, is this the right? Hang on, I'm going to actually switch back here, guys. Now, as you guys can see, PYW is 376 or 78, or I think it was. My teammate here enters the code 588. Now, that's step 1 of 3. Next step, you'll notice that the actual monitors on the display on the left-hand side has changed from a 3-digit code to a 4-digit code. Now, do bear that in mind, guys, that the code, of course, again, will be different, and one of these characters will be a red herring. So, one of these characters will not correspond to what's actually displayed. So, in my game, I got BMHE. Now, basically what we need to look for is, we need to look back at those monitors that we just looked at a few moments ago. And in this case, you'll notice I've got 2 characters on the first set of screen. So in this case, 9, 8. So HE, so the last 2 characters. Of course, if you remember what the display read, it said BMHE. HE, so H is 9. E is an 8, so we know those 2 characters to be the last 2 digits of the 3-digit code. And my teammate, who was in the other room at the time, actually, I think his digit came back as a 3 or a 2, if I'm not mistaken. So, I think it was 298, if I'm not mistaken. So, as you guys can see, 398. Now, notice how on the first stage, it was my teammate Deadeye here in this case who inputted the code on the first stage. Once that code has been entered on the first stage, his fingerprint will be registered on their little database that they have. Meaning that on the second time that you have to do it, somebody else on the team has to take over. So basically you have to do a rotation of roles, if that makes sense. So my case there, I had 398, so I entered in 398 in the little computer here. That allows on to stage 3. As you guys can see, fingerprints added to the database, meaning my other teammate, so teammate number 3, has to do the input. Now, I'm on the second set of monitors here, so this is the third and final stage of this specific step. Now, again, you have to look for the digit codes. Now, as you guys can see, I've got YXR066. Now, I would recommend that you take pictures, write them down, do whatever it is that you need to do to actually remember these codes. Now, in this game, I don't know if I actually managed to record this earlier on, but I'm just going to see if I did. Hopefully I did. So, fingerprint added to my database. I'm going to have to see tonight. Actually, hang on a second. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to see if I can. So I'm just going to show you that 398. So I retreat back over to here, and you'll notice that the code has changed once again to WMTXK. So WMTXK was the code for this 5 digits. Of course, 2 of these now will be different. Now, the only one we've got that code is X, which is a 6. Y and the R are irrelevant to this. So bear that in mind. You'll notice I returned back to the first room, so we know that one of the digits is a 6 from I think it was the X, if I'm not mistaken. Now we're currently looking for the other set of codes, which should be straightforward. You're looking for those two monitors. Now I actually made a little oopsie there and went straight past it without noticing. So once you get back to the control room, A2, and turn the camera around the right way, you will notice that we've got 2, 3, 4. Now, if you remember the 6 that we got from the other set of cameras, that was X in that case, and that was a 6 on that screen. So the final code for this stage is 2, 6, 4. Now, of course, the person who is left over, who hasn't typed in this computer yet, he has to be the person who actually types in the code. So again, like I say, you have to switch roles because I've already been there and done it, so I can't do it again. There you go. There goes. Once he enters the code 264, that will open up the silo doors, leading us into the submarines room. Now, once you get into the submarines room, the idea is to pick up the oxygen mask. Now, this is going to be very handy for this next step, so I would thoroughly recommend you picking this up. Now, once you get into this room, you will notice that, like I said, there is a oxygen mask inside the room on the workbench on the left-hand side. You'll notice in this gameplay, my teammate picked it up. It should be seen on this bench right here, where Deadeye is. It's like a little green capsule. You can't miss it, guys. You'll notice on screen it comes up with an O2, which is, of course, the chemical equation for oxygen. And you will notice once you get into this location, just left of the submarine, this is like the underwater maze step. The idea is because you've got one oxygen mask between the three of you, this way you have to communicate well and communicate effectively. So the idea is to get under the water, swim around the area, which is like very close quarters, and you will notice that eventually you will start to run out of air, as will your teammates. Now, the person with the oxygen mask has to share out the oxygen between the three of you. So communicate effectively, make sure you guys stay within close proximity of each other to obtain the oxygen mask. You just see me pick up the oxygen mask from my teammate, give it over to my other teammate. I would maybe, as an idea here, guys, maybe should, what's the word I'm searching for here? Count the number of seconds that actually takes before your air runs out. If you do like a power swim, it does actually make your oxygen deplete faster. So I would make sure you guys pace yourselves and pace effectively. You will notice you start to run out of air when you see a blue pulse happening around the edge of your screen. Now this blue, there you go, you can see the blue pulse in the outside of this screen right now. Eventually it will turn red, and if you're not fast enough, of course you will die, but you will respawn to the nearest checkpoint that you've already passed. Now you will also notice there's like red buttons to press, which you will need to what's the word we're searching for here? Interact with in order to get through the doors. At the top of these stairs, in one of the first safe areas, you'll notice there's a set of pistols. Now, in order to pick up one of these pistols, you have to pass the oxygen mask to one of your teammates. You can't do this with the oxygen mask in your hand, which personally doesn't make much sense to me. So as you guys can see, I've just given over the oxygen mask to one of my teammates there. That allows me to pick up one of the pistols. Now, for those who don't know, you can't fire an assault rifle underwater. Don't know how that really well works, but with pistols and knives, you can. So once you've obtained a pistol, go straight back underwater and make your way back down to more or less where you came from, and you'll notice there's this closed gate. Open this up. Now, this is like step 2, if you will, of this underwater process. Now, you will also notice, if you're eagle-eyed, you will notice there's some tripwires. Avoid these at all costs. Now, it is possible on some sort of occasion that you can actually swim through this, but you cannot use the oxygen mask while you do that. You'll notice that there goes one of my teammates. Now, interestingly, you can respawn them. However, once they've despawned, then they'll head back to the previous checkpoint that you last completed. You noticed on my screen that a moment ago, you actually started all turning red. That's when you almost depleted out of oxygen. Now here's those tripwires I mentioned about earlier. So make your way past those tripwires, ensuring you don't set them off. Now, once you've made your way past that, you will notice there's like a maze of rooms. Make your way around the maze till you find another safe area. Now, when you get to the safe area, you'll notice there's a locked door. Make your way around and find another alternative route around these rooms, and you'll make your way past there. So you can search, guys, and see, make my way past that area. And one of these rooms, you'll encounter a big, massive hole in the floor. And these also have tripwires in them. Now, the idea is to find a way to actually blow these tripwires up. Now, there's two ways of doing this. Either using grenades or flash grenades or something like that, or the alternative is to give the oxygen mask to one of your teammates, and the person without that oxygen mask can actually swim down to the bottom. Now, make sure you guys are communicating effectively. Make sure you guys make your way down to the bottom of this little tunnel, and you'll come across another safe area once you get through this door at the background here. Now, this is the next safe haven, I guess you could say, and you'll come across this big, rather large cave. Now, jump down to the bottom, and you'll notice there's two exits, if that makes sense. One of them has an arrow, a black arrow next to it, or white arrow, I should say, on a black background. Follow the arrows. Now, if you do follow the arrows, you'll notice there's another set of like cave-like tunnels, if that makes sense. Again, make sure you guys use that oxygen mask very effectively. If you don't reach in time, again, you'll make your way back to the last checkpoint if you don't make it in time. Now, once you've made it to this point, you'll notice there's another task for you to complete. So once you've made your way through the tunnels, you'll come across another safe zone, and you'll notice in that safe zone there's a blue generator on top of a pile of boxes. Now, this is a bit of an interesting challenge here. So for this, what you need to do is one person stays at the generator, another person stays close by to a red button, which is underwater in the left-hand room, which you guys will notice right here. Let's see if I can turn this the right way around. So you'll notice underwater there's two corridors, which is right. So first corridor is right here, and there's like another corridor just to the left down here. Now, once you get underwater, one of you stays next to the gate down the bottom, another one stays at the red button, which is behind this wall, and the other person is up here at the generator. Now, you do need to time this quite effectively, so my teammate's gone to the red button, I'm staying up here with the generator, switch it on, the person at the red button presses the red button, and those two people with the oxygen mask, I would recommend, goes to the gate that's open, should be opened by your colleague. Now, once that's been done, you'll notice on one of the rooms there's another red button that you have to interact with, and that will allow your other teammate, the one who pressed the first red button, to pass through the gate. Then once you've made your way past that, make sure you guys make your way out, and you're on to the next step, clearing out the armory. Now, you will lose your oxygen mask at this point. Make sure you guys get fully equipped for a rather big gunfight. You'll come across loads of armory, so it's like you've got a chance to stack up on semtexes, different weapons, and you will notice that there's a fenced gate. All three people need to interact with this fenced gate. Once you've done that, the door will open up, and you'll notice there's a bunch of enemies. Clear these enemies out in the armory. To do this, you will also notice that there's also some juggernauts, some enemies with armor on, so make sure you guys get fully equipped. Now, once you believe that you've cleared all those rooms out, in one of the rooms there's actually a red button on the wall. Press that red button, and that'll allow the juggernauts to actually come out and attack you. Eliminate those juggernauts and people with riot shields, and that will allow you to move on to the next step. In one of the rooms that was cleared out, you'll notice there's a green hole in the floor. Now, as you guys can see, I've just finished clearing out one of those juggernauts there, and you will notice there's a big massive hole in the floor in one of those rooms, right here. Once you made your way down those little sewers or tunnels, whatever you want to call them, you will notice there's another flooded area. You do not need the mask for this area. Make your way down to the bottom of that corridor, and you will notice that there's also a bomb drone, which will come in your direction. Take it out. Now this next step will be similar to the very first step that we did with remembering all those codes. Except this one's going to be slightly different. So once you made your way to the cylindrical room, you'll notice it's like flooded with water. It's got a big massive cylindrical area, and what you need to do here is you'll notice there's two different areas. One of which is inspired by No Fighting in the War Room from I think it was the very first game, which is rather interesting, and another one is somewhat very similar to it. You'll notice there's juggernauts, bomb drones flying around, and you'll notice there's two monitors at this location. There's like a data entry point here, and there's to the right you'll notice there's another display similar to the one that was glowing red in the very first step in the other room. Now, what you need to do is coordinate yourselves effectively by make sure you guys activate all those entry computers. So there's like an entry computer here, the No Fighting in the War Room area. There's another one similar to that in the second area. And once you've activated those 2 points, you'll notice that this device here will allow you to activate it. Now, you're more or less doing the exact same thing with the very first step. Now, except with being in the same place at the same time, at this point you have to separate yourselves. So this is the alternative room. You'll notice that during this time you'll get attacked by bomb drones, different enemies who will be charging at you. Take them out. Then this time, unlike the first step that we had, this one's against the clock. So if you don't make it in time, don't worry, the system will refresh and you have to start that specific step again. Now, one person has to stay at the in the round room with the computer and the data entry computer. One person has to stay at the other room that's like from Not Fighting in the War Room mission from campaign of Modern Warfare 1, and the other one has to stay at the other room that's similar to that location. Now, if you remember where we're looking at those CCTV cameras to identify which code relates to which screen, that's more or less what we're doing, except we're a lot further apart than we were in the first one. Now, in my game, I got T8 and then what closely resembles a 6, and T is assigned to 7, A is assigned to 3, 6 is assigned to 6 symbol is assigned to 2. So in that case, I got an invalid code. If you get it wrong, it'll just you're given more time to do it again. If you run out of time on the clock, then that allows you to refresh the screen. Now you've only got a minimum of 3 tries between each attempt. So if you get it wrong 3 times during the minute-long period of step 1, then the time will expire, and that allows you just to refresh all the screens again. It'll allow you to start the first cipher again. If you get it right, and if you get all the numbers right, all the codes right as well, that will allow you to go into cipher number 2. Now, I think it was this step, if I'm not mistaken, I think I got RWP in this occasion. So R's a 2, W's an 8, P's a 2. Now, I can't remember what my code was on this specific one, but once we got that right, then a different set of numbers will appear on screen. In this case, it was W, R, and C, 992. So I believe mine was the W, or the R, if memory serves, and that obviously resembles a 9. So my colleague enters that cipher into the computer. Now, bear in mind, this is my second teammate. Has to be the different teammate that that previously entered on cipher 1. So teammate 1 entered cipher 1, teammate 2 has to enter cipher 2 on the keypads. So those two of my teammates swapped over their positions. So I stayed at the second set of script numbers here. Now, once that's been entered and entered correctly, then that will eventually allow you to commence cipher 3. once you commence Cypher 3, in my case, I got WTP0Y. One of my teammates got 0Y, I believe, and I think my other teammate, I think, may have got W. Now, I can't remember what the number that appeared as on their screen, but I think it was 288, if memory serves. Now, once you get this correct, this is going to be the most challenging part. You have to wait for the key blast doors to unlock, which is a 4-minute lockdown timer. So you have to hold the place down for 4 minutes, while all sorts of enemies, bomb drones, will be making their way in your direction. Make sure you guys take them all out. Then once you've done that, once you've reached the 4-minute countdown timer, then that will allow you to complete the entire mission. So that's more or less straightforward. It was really hectic, so make sure you guys get fully equipped at this stage. You are free to roam about underwater. I don't think the bomb drones can attack you while you're underwater, so that makes sure that is make sure you guys well are communicated. Make sure you guys are armoured up. You can do revives, but if you do not make a revive in time, you will still be able to get revives. It's just going to take a little bit longer to complete. Now there will be like ammo crates dotted around the area as well. That will allow you to actually complete this mission. Once the 4-minute timer has elapsed and you've all hopefully survived at this point, that should allow you to actually move on to the very final step, to regroup at the blast doors. And this is what triggers off the final cutscene. Now hopefully this has helped your way through this mission. If it has, smash the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, please smash the subscribe button. Don't forget the notification bell so you can see more videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace out.